Hello, we are meal prepping and I'm really excited to share this with you. I am going to be cooking chicken tenders, ground turkey, and then skirt steak. And we are using the oven and we are using the air fryer, and we want to optimize our energy always, right? So it's really important to eat animals because they have essential amino acids, and we need amino acids to keep all of the body parts separate that should be separate. So like if you look up leaky gut or you look up problems that happen within the internal system, it's because the body parts are like leaking, and in severe cases, this inflammation changes a blood-brain barrier where stuff goes into your brain that is not supposed to access your brain. Your blood cycles debris, gets shit out of you, all that stuff. You don't want to break down the blood-brain barrier. And so eating animal products is really good to help prevent that because of amino acids. And also, if you supplement with Bragg's amino acids, this has 16 amino acids in it. Our topsoils are really deteriorated from the special things that we need because of our pesticides. And so it's important to eat the animals, and it's also important to supplement. Number two, what I want to share with you today, and I'm going really fast because we boss babes and we got shit to do. I am going to be using sweet potatoes / yams. I think they're yams. I don't know. It doesn't even matter. They're orange. When we eat orange things, that's going to help our female organs. And I'm about 10 days out from my period, and this is when I get a lot of the cravings leading up to it. So I'm going to show you how you're going to optimize your time, get stuff going with your longer to cook vegetable or carb source while you're also taking care of the meat. And then we will probably have time for me to show you how I get some of my squash cooked up. You ready? Go. All right, let's rinse off our potatoes real quick. So we're gonna make sweet potato fries. So first we are going to boil them, and I am gonna go fast. I am Aries rising, and I got shit to do, right? Like I don't want to spend a lot of time cooking either. And honestly, if you get a narrower, right, more surface area, this is going to bring your water to a boil faster. I grew up with a mom who did not use a lot of salt in her cooking because she has high blood pressure. I myself have low blood pressure, so I salt everything that I eat. And also, if you are happening to watch this video while you're on a calorie deficit or you're in the first phase of a reverse diet, you're going to want to salt your food. So that's about how much water I have. And I'm going to put that up to a boil. Got it on high. I've got my meats that have been defrosted. So hopefully, you know, when you're watching this, you're like kind of like chill, relaxing, doing something. Maybe you're even on the treadmill. So I've got big, coarse sea salt. I usually put this in water to boil because, you know, if it's like chunky and you bite into it, if you're salting your food with it, it's kind of weird. So we're going to give it a good amount to bring it up to boil. That's Daisy. Okay, so we are just going to put these bad boys in as is, because when they get soft is when we are going to cut them, and then we're going to bake them so that we have most delicious French fries ever. And then this is going to help with your PMS too. A lot of times I'm eating rice, but this is a really great way to combat your PMS cravings. And I'm going to add a little bit more water. So as you're watching this, you know, like think about any questions you might have for me that I can help you customize this, or like just any questions in general. All right, so we're really just boiling these so that they are easy to cut when we roast them with salt. to make our delicious French fries. Okay, so we got the oven on. It's set to 425 degrees. It's still heating up. We're gonna move into turkey balls. These are so good. This recipe I got from HelloFresh. We're gonna change it up just a little bit. We're gonna use scallions and we're gonna use fresh ginger. Obviously, you can use dried ingredients because, like, you know, from your seasoning cabinet, because they'll just fluff up with the moisture. But I'm gonna go ahead and grab those from the fridge. All right, they're a little droopy. It's okay. All right, I like to mix things in shallow bowls so that it's easier to get things done. And girls, if you've got nails, just go ahead and get yourself some food service gloves. Just like this. Do you like how fast we're going? We're only 6 minutes in. Ready, set, go. Okay, I'm actually gonna pull the trash can because you don't need to make a mess everywhere. I've got a wonderful knife to show you the goods over here. We're gonna use a grater for the ginger. And this is kind of like an Asian cuisine recipe. And so instead of soy sauce, we're gonna use the amino acids. You know, taking care of yourself is so good. I used to be like not confident in the kitchen at all. And like one time when I was married, I don't know why I did this, but okay, so I'm just cutting it diagonally. And we're gonna toss this in. Oh, it's still a little frozen. That's gonna be really cold on the fingers, let me tell you. Okay, so I don't wanna put raw poultry on the cutting board. You wanna really keep your poultry blood to hard surfaces that you can clean with Clorox or something similar. This is 2 1.7 pound servings of turkey. And this is gonna last a pretty long while. And I actually meant to chop up my other stuff first, which is why I pulled the cutting board out. So this is just condensation from the outside of the package, so that's okay. Okay, so what we're going to do is chop up the white part of the onions. We're not even gonna use the green part, who cares? So we're just gonna give them a quick rinse. A little shaky, shaky, shaky. Oh, watch out. Okay, so we're gonna cut off the roots, get rid of those. See how convenient that is? So good. So when you're cutting, you kind of have this little like seesaw. You know what it feels like to me? It's kind of like when you go to the carnival and it's the ride that is the pirate ship that goes. That's kind of the leverage that you want to have more towards the tip of the blade to get it done really quickly. So we're just going to toss those. Oops. And then I'm going to give it a quick chop. So I'm putting pressure with my left hand to leverage it. And then the cutting is really kind of happening down here closer to this hand. Like that's really where the power is coming in. You guys, this is so good. When I recently decided that I understood the mechanics of the body, like when I hit a new layer of it, and I was like, wait a minute, I know anything wrong in our body is separation consciousness. Therefore, I don't have inflammation anymore. I decided to order from HelloFresh so that I could get new recipes, because mostly for the last 3 years, I've been eating the same food, which is just like different seasoned squash and root vegetables and certain grains. So I've been experimenting with recipes and it's very exciting. If you want to peel some of this off, you can. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. So we're just gonna give it a quick peel. This is fresh ginger. If you have a Costco near you, they might actually have like a huge container of it. And this is really good to mince ginger or like use the cheese grater, which I'm going to show you, and put it in tea at night. If you have ginger tea at night, it's going to help you sleep better because it's going to aid in digestion. And then you can put even more ginger into it if you have it fresh. So, okay. So I shaved off about that much. And then what I'm going to do is use a cheese grater, and we are going to grate it right into our mixing bowl. This is so, so good. I don't really look at the quantities of stuff. I just kind of like think, okay, that's probably enough. So as you can see, I just used like 2 little prongs of it and just 1 little bunch of onion. And then I'm gonna put in enough soy sauce to just kind of like lube it up a little bit so it mixes. Okay. So what I was saying is that when I was married, this is like how like uncomfortable I was in the kitchen. We had leftovers tikka masala chicken. And for whatever reason, I was like really excited to cook dinner the next day. I rinsed the tikka masala dressing off of it to change the flavor. Like, who does that? And I don't even know why I did that. And it was at a time where there was this grocery store. It's out of business now. I don't remember what, Fresh and Easy, where they have a lot of like made for you meals. And so look at all that ginger. I had just heated those. I didn't even prepare them, right? I just heated them. And then by the time we got to dinner, he was like, is this the tikka masala? And I was like, yeah. He's like, what did you do? I go, I rinsed it. He's like, you rinsed it? So then I was mortified that the food that we were eating was food that he actually cooked that I rinsed, and then all I did was heat side dishes. So I have not been that comfortable in the kitchen. So here we have it. And we're gonna put in about that much, right? Just to get it wet. Just to get it wet. And liquid aminos is pretty salty, so I'm not gonna salt the turkey. And we have our potatoes boiling. And everyone, we are at 13 minutes and 40 seconds right now. So fast. And because we're using the oven for multiple reasons, it's gonna go really quick. Yes, so good. You know I'm gonna salt the shit out of the sweet potatoes though, because that's gonna be so good when it's time to eat. Oh my God, it's gonna be like, I mean, you know what a sweet potato fry tastes like. The salt is just gonna make it next level. Oh, let me get this sheet, the baking sheet. So you can totally use the air fryer to make your meatballs, and I do that a lot of the time, but because I'm cooking multiple things and I'm showing you how to do a bulk meal prep, we are gonna bake them just to be better efficient with our time. And then we're gonna be careful not to overcook these potatoes, so I'm probably gonna let them go for like 3 more minutes, and then we will take them out, cut them up, and then we will bake them. So I'm like putting salmonella on my tripod. Awesome. So here we got our mix. Oh my God, don't leave the ginger. So freaking good. Okay, so then we're gonna be squishy. So I think by the time I'm done mixing this is when I'm gonna check the potatoes. The food gloves, oh my gosh, they are like next level. So I measure most of my food after it's cooked. I have done things where I've measured with it raw, and there's something to say about being super accurate, but none of us are getting on a stage. So we don't have to be like super duper accurate because we're not using our body for like a bikini competition or a figure competition where we're really working scientifically with the body. So it's gonna be okay for things to be slightly off. So we're not gonna worry about measuring anything. If you've seen my more detailed system of macros, Living the Dream, that product that I made, that course, you'll see it's like very meticulous. But that's also when I was figuring out my inflammation issues. So this is still really hard. Yeah. So when I was dealing with inflammation, there was such a limited list of food that I could eat. And then to do macros on top of that, it was really hard because, okay, I lowered it down to medium. So we're going to give it like another 5 minutes. It's 11:35 right now. I was really meticulous with how I was doing macros when I was really strict with my anti-inflammatory foods, because it was such a limited quality or quantity of food, and I was eating so much squash because it was high volume and not carb dense. So like a root vegetable is on my list to eat, but like if I were to eat sweet potato at every meal, I would have like already maxed out my carbs like 2 meals in. So I was being very, very meticulous to stretch my food out as much as I can. This is going to be, you don't have to do that, but I'm just kind of sharing with you the history of my stuff, especially if you've looked at my other courses. Okay, so I'm going to get some stuff to put on the pan. This is ghee, and it's from grass-fed cows. And you literally can taste the grass. Like, it's so good. It kind of has a nutty flavor to it. Now, I'm not going to add a lot. That's it, okay? And so we're just going to smear it on. And a lot of this happens by the flick of your wrist is how you get things to spread. I'm going to do a little bit more. So here's how much more I'm doing. And like I said, like, we're not counting the macros that we do with this because a lot of it's going to cook off and it's going to make a micro measurement. Okay, let's do that one. I'll just put it on the trash can. And let's do this one. Okay. So that's probably what I ended up with when I did it twice. Hey, Bubba, would you like this? It would be amazing, huh? You can't have any. Oh, don't worry, buddy. Don't worry. I'm not sharing. I'm not sharing. Oh my God, you can even like smell the ghee right now. So good. You know, it adds a lot of flavor, so you really feel like you're eating the earth. Like, you really feel like you're in nature. And then also, it just adds so much. Oh, just adds so much. Okay, so I'm going to put my gloves back on. And I'm just going to eyeball the turkey, because when it comes down to it, when it's time to do your macros for the day, when you're eating, you're gonna be cutting these so that you can get as much out of it, so that you can get the right amount in that meal. And so this is really just kind of like an extremely convenient way to cook so that you have food on hand. So this is almost like, instead of like you would have like stuff in your cabinet on stock, this is like having protein on stock. This is really super sticky. So I think what I'm going to do is, I just have a teaspoon, and yeah, I'm just going to plop it on and not try to roll it around. I think if I put like panko crumbs in it or something, like some sort of a bread product, I think it would be less sticky. But since we are doing macros and we would rather not add carbs when we don't, we want to add carbs to where you can enjoy them. And so sometimes you don't want to add bread products as a filler, because then it takes away from the eating experience. And girl, when you're on a reverse diet, which I will explain in a second, you want to enjoy your food as much as possible. Okay, I feel like I should stab the potatoes. Still not done. I just want to, I want the fork to go in a little bit, just so that it's easy for me to cut them, to put them in the, to make them a fry shape. Okay, so a reverse diet is when we do a severe calorie cut. This is extreme. And I'm actually in a severe calorie deficit right now. I'm doing about 1,200 calories. And I've been doing that for the last 2 weeks. However, next week, I'm gonna add 100 calories. And then the following week, 100 calories. And then the following week, 100 calories. And so then over the course of like 2 months, I'm gonna build myself back up to be eating 1,800 calories, which according to an online calculator, calculator.net, is kind of like a rough estimate of how much calories I should be eating, 1,800, to maintain 120 pounds. Right now, I'm like 128. So a reverse diet is a way that you can get the weight off of you a little quicker than a slow calorie deficit over time, but you have to plan it to where you're not going to have like a big social event, because like in that first 2 week really hard period, because then that's going to throw things off. This is about like it's like a fast thing, but you have to be disciplined and you have to like really enjoy the food that you're eating and be strategic about what you're eating so that you're not hungry. Because if you're eating every 2.5 hours and you're eating a ratio, which I'll provide for you in the PDF, of fat, carbs, and protein, your blood sugar should be so stable that you should not be hungry and you should not have cravings. So good. Okay, so 3, 6, 9, 12, 15. We got 15 on here. This is so fabulous. The oven is hot, but I want to put them both in at the same time. By the way, we are 23 minutes in. 23 minutes, 52 seconds. We are doing so good. So if you're on a treadmill, you know, you can like always press pause and say hi and stuff. I'm just going to throw that one away. Okay. I got a couple of frozen pieces right here. Okay. So like I said, don't worry about the size. This is really just for cooking convenience. And you know, the more bites that you have when you're eating that have like kind of like a crispy edge and a soft center, oh my God, so good. We could be making these into patties. We could be doing a meatloaf, whatever. But this is how we're doing it. So good. And you know, the thing about being in a calorie deficit, you really find out what you're capable of, because there's little things that stress us out during the day, and food is one of the things that brings us back to our center, because we're going to reach for food that gives us our same chemical profile of molecules of emotion. So if you find yourself craving something, okay, number one, it could be because you're not eating well enough with your macros, which then of course we would have a conversation about. But a lot of cravings are emotional, and it's just a way for the mind body to get back to who it is, you know? And so when you find yourself feeling like you really want to eat something and it's not time to eat, or you've already fulfilled your macros for the day, you really have to figure out how to change your chemicals with your thoughts. That means you have to like actually sit with yourself of like what's coming up for you in that moment, what upset you. Like you have to do like investigative work in the moment to be like, why do I actually want to eat all of this chocolate right now? Is my period due? Did I just have something stressful happen? Am I a defined solar plexus like Lauren and I was just on an energetic wave? Am I on the low end of a wave and all I have to do is wait this out? Like there's a lot of things that go into why cravings happen. And you know, we don't have to get sucked into, I've heard this recently, the swamp of divine feminine energetics. We don't have to deconstruct everything all the time. We can really be pragmatic in the moment. Okay, we got one more. My God, this is so good. So good. Last one. So look at it. It's almost like a pound of turkey on each sheet. And remember, we're not going to be anal retentive about it. We're just doing this for eating, measuring, cooking, convenience, and pleasure. Okay, you ready? We're gonna check on the potatoes real quick. We just want them to be soft enough to cut into. I'm gonna turn it off and just leave them there for a second. Turkey tray number 1, it's all good. Turkey tray number 2, 13 minutes. All right, let's clean up a little bit. It's really easy. Your life will be like way easier if you clean up a little bit as you go. This makes the whole process so much better. Then I'm going to cook my chicken and my steak in the air fryer. It's so, so good. So I have a whole bunch of seasonings. Garlic and herb is one of my favorites. Flavor God is one of my favorites. Buttery Steakhouse is really good. I think I'm gonna put that on the steak today. Then there's like the blend, salt, pepper, and garlic, lemon pepper. I think what I'm gonna do is do ranch for the chicken tenders. Ranch powdered dressing is so good on chicken, so I'll be right back. This one, I am gonna put panko crumbs on it because you're actually going to taste them. If they were mixed in with the turkey, it would have been more of a texture thing. We want to do the taste, and I think there's an open package. Oh my God, the turkey smells so good. And you know, it's really enhanced with the ghee. And you know, I have done this and I have not done an egg wash. I just don't rinse the chicken and it's come out just fine. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're 32 minutes in. My goal right now is to not have a bunch of crazy cravings while I'm in week 2 of a severe cut. Because let me tell you, 1,200 calories while working out is not very much food. This is extreme. Temporary extreme. A reverse cut is a temporary extreme. And then it gets better as the weeks go on. And then all of a sudden, you've lost weight and you're eating your maintainable calories. It's like your exit strategy from a diet, which a lot of programs, that's like a lot of the thing that's missing. We're gonna turn this around. Be generous, especially if you shop at Costco. It's cheap. Here's our crumbs. Oh, they don't smell. So when I measure this, when I'm eating, I don't account for them because by the time that's all spread out over the amount of chicken we're cooking, it's like nothing. Okay, so we got our organic chicken tenders. So freaking good. I'm just gonna cut it right down the middle. And my tongs, tong, tong, tong. You wanna mix that up a little bit. And we're gonna stick it in. So it's still a little frozen. But do you see how like non-specific you need to be? You do not have to like look like a freaking chef while you're cooking this and like have everything perfect and do an egg wash and all these types of things. It is not that big of a deal. It's pretty much gonna taste the same. Okay, so let's toss that. Okay, so I'm just gonna like move this around and try to coat it as much as possible. So I'll tell you something else. My training partner, Mo, who you've probably seen on Instagram, he gave me an air fryer and I was really resistant to using it because I actually thought that meant like I wasn't really cooking. That like if I really cooked, it was on the oven or the stove. And then when I finally used it, like after a month, I was like, oh my God, this has totally changed my life. We're gonna go ahead and start loading it in. So this piece, I really freaking like. I mean, like, look at how well it's coated. So we're just gonna lay it in. I don't even spray this because when it cooks thoroughly, it doesn't stick or it doesn't stick very much. So I'm just gonna squish this around, right? Pretty good. Lay it in here. We got 3 minutes, 50 seconds left on the turkey. And honestly, like you can overcook stuff a little bit because if you overcook things, you're gonna get rid of its fat. And a good rule of thumb when we're wanting to like have the look, right? Like we wanna have muscle, we wanna have that X frame of the bikini body. We want to prioritize our protein first, like eat our whatever our goal weight is, we want to eat that much protein every single day. And then we find our calorie of like what's a suitable thing, whether we're in a slight deficit or whether we're in a reverse cut. We find that calorie load. We're using MyFitnessPal to get this like calculation. And then you start adding carbs and fat to it, and you make your fat grams 20% of your total calories. And so if you overcook your meat that's high fat, like this turkey is, the turkey balls are relatively high fat compared to chicken. So if I overcook the turkey a little bit and burn off some of the fat, it's going to be a little bit less fat. But like, it's very nuanced and you're really not going to know for sure. And it really doesn't matter. I just want to share with you stuff so that you don't have extreme black and white thinking, because there's nothing extreme about this. By the way, we are 38 minutes and 40 seconds in. So here's our first layer of chicken. You can see you have suggested times, and then you can always like check your suggested time. So for the chicken one, it says 390. You want to be careful for sure. Like if you cook something too hot, too fast, and then also not hot enough. So you can just like kind of check it. Like I'm always opening it up and cutting it a little bit. Okay, let's check on the turkey. Oh, like not even close. Okay. Better to set short timers than do it too long and totally fuck it up. Okay, let's see if we need to add a little bit more. This one's really frozen. I love this. So these are ready for the next round. Last but not least is the steak. Oh my God. I love meat. I love meat from men. I love meat from animals. It's all good. So we got 2 steaks. Yes. Just 2 in here. Yes, we know, but you're not ready. Let's do another 13 minutes. So if we add another 13 minutes and it turns out perfectly, we know that we're cooking turkey for 26 minutes. Fuck yeah, with the buttery steakhouse. Let's do it. Remember, this is going to go in the air fryer, and it's so good in the air fryer. So let's put that on. Let's flip it over, and notice it's like coated in its own blood. Like I didn't even rinse it. You don't have to do all this shit. Okay, so that's ready to go. Oh my God. And like we already have time to do vegetables. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, so let's do a little quick cleanup. The zucchini on the stove today instead of baking them, because we got to have the oven available for the zucchini or for the potato fries. So let me go grab the zucchini. I forgot that I have bell pepper. Okay, so bell pepper is so awesome. Just look at this. This is the color of your first 3 chakras. Your first 3 chakras relate to your unconscious mind, your subconscious mind, and your conscious mind. The root chakra has to do with the unconscious. It's red. The sacral chakra has to do with the subconscious, and it's orange. The solar plexus has to do with the conscious mind, and it's yellow. So if you incorporate those foods, you are going to support the energetic body while you get super fucking hot. Okay, my dogs love squash, so you're gonna watch this, especially the little one. He loves squash. Cocoa Bear loves squash. So does Buddy. So does Daisy, so does the mama. The mama is the one without a tail. And the others are her children. Okay. So, see how convenient this is? Hopefully you have a kitchen situation like this. This is what my dog's like. Okay. So we have to share with the dogs first. I don't cut that part off because why? The other part is more crunchy. So I can hear my pans getting nice and hot. And when you weigh this, when like you're gonna like be doing your meal, it's mostly water. You're gonna have like so much volume when you are eating. Okay, I'm trying to make them like relatively the same size. So you may have to like vary when you cut things so that it kind of stays in the same you know, size to like try to cook as evenly as possible. Watch out. So I don't have any fats in here because when these cook, especially with salt, they're gonna lube up. So you don't need to add fat to that. Okay, and in fact, let me go ahead and add some of our salt. When we're doing the zucchini or summer squash, whatever this is, I just keep adding to it and then like adding to the pan. And then by the time I'm done cutting, it's only a few more minutes to where it gets really bright in their colors. And that's when you know it's done. And then you can take it off of the stove and into a container, and it'll still cook a little bit longer. By the way, we are 50 minutes in. We are doing so good on time. I already did a content post. I already worked out. I already checked in with my clients. Like, this is how we do it. This is how we motherfucking do it. So good. 2.5 minutes left on the chicken. I can't wait for you to see it. We're just going to give it a quick stir. See, you don't want to add fat to this. Not that fat is bad. It's just that when we're doing our macros, we're going to get a good amount of fat from our animals. And then like if we want to have like a nut butter or something, a nut butter. Okay, so this is a dog piece again. I think Coco actually prefers zucchini. What do you think? No? I don't know what he wants. He might want chicken, but he's not getting chicken. Okay, I'm just gonna have this ready for the chicken. Okay, so with the zucchini, why make it hard? Cut it first so that you have more control, and then chop them up. So easy. Careful of your nails. Don't fuck up your nails. Priorities. Priorities. So some food, I will be honest with you, you're not going to be that excited to eat it, but it's going to fill you. So if you are like eating like 3 of your meals out of the day where it's like very strategic, where you're eating it for the nutrients, you're eating it for the energy, you see how they're already getting kind of bright, then you can eat more fun food. So like yesterday I had cream of rice cereal with honey almond butter and 2 marshmallows. It was so good and it fit my macros. I wouldn't eat that every day, but it was fine for that. Okay, that looks pretty damn good. We'll get a knife and then I'm gonna check it. Let's just double check. When you're checking your food and it's cooked, don't use the raw implement that you used. Oh my God, so good. Do you guys see how easy this is? Okay, don't melt your plastic with your hot container. See how it like really doesn't stick that much? So if you were to reheat this, you could reheat it on the stove, the microwave, you could eat it cold, you could throw it in the air fryer to reheat it. Oh my God, so good. Gonna go back in, by the way, we're at 54 minutes. God, do you see this, how easy? And actually, you know what? There's room. Oh, I'll just wait for the steak because there's only 2 steaks anyway. But I'm gonna put it up to 390, in for 15 minutes. Put that in the sink. Keep going with the squash. Oh my God, do you see this? So good. So good. We'll put it right here. Let's see how the squash is. Oh yeah, so good. See, beautiful, delicious. Look at one rogue over there. I think I'm gonna actually throw it away. I'm not gonna mix it in, you know, just in case. Coco doesn't want any squash. You don't want any. You keep saying no. Good. Dump them in. Give them a little stir. Yes. Oh my God, it's so good. Let's put a little bit more salt. Yeah, so good. You don't need to put salt in if you don't want to. And this is probably going to melt. So that's why I was using the big salt instead of a smaller Himalayan one. I wonder who will watch this whole freaking thing. If you're watching right now, you should comment. So they're all going to basically be like that one. And yes, some of them will be overcooked. But we don't give a shit. It is not that big of a deal. So an even faster way, excuse me, Coco, is to put a ring on it. Just kidding. Put a lid on it. And it'll cook even faster. And we'll just lower the heat. Let's check on. Oh yeah, turkey's coming along. Wash. My dogs are so cute. Oh my God, look at my little dogs. Okay, I need this for the meat. Because then we got bell pepper. Oh my God. And I may actually, there's part of me that kind of wants to keep the bell pepper raw or like really lightly cooked. I usually overcook the bell pepper to soften them up and get the sugar, but I may actually like really cook them lightly because they're really good with balsamic vinegar on them. Not a vinaigrette, because the vinaigrette's going to have a lot of oil, and oil has a lot of calories. Not that it's bad, but that you don't want to be having a whole bunch of calories in a teeny tiny bit of food. I'm prepping the sweet potato fries. Okay. Oh no, I hope I didn't overcook them. We'll see what happens. Oh, you see this? Yes. Oh, yes. Okay, I'm gonna cut it into threes. I like the skin. I don't know if you like the skin. I cut it into threes first, then I'm gonna cut it into threes again. It is very soft. When we cook, if you cook on the same surface, it's gonna add flavor. So we're gonna cook on the same surface, okay? So if you noticed, I didn't cut any of the eyes out because I knew, we're just gonna have to take the skin off. I knew in the boil, it wasn't going to matter, that it was going to naturally fall off anyway. So just one less thing you have to worry about. The dogs will actually probably like that too. I feel like they're listening and they're like, yes, the dogs would like that. Okay, so we're going to cut it into threes again. These are going to be so good. And you are going to like love how you feel. You know what I feel like? I always feel like that soup commercial. And they're like, you're going to love the way you look. But you're going to love the way you feel, because when you're taking care of your body, everything else falls into place. Like your whole life is going to fall into place, because what it takes for you to push through the resistance to not take care of your body and take the easy way out, what it takes for you to make that decision changes the energy in your body. And energy is the thing that creates your life. So your life is going to transform when you take the time to take care of your body. It's just like the most incredible thing. And I work with a lot of women who are in business for themselves. And there is a lot of fucked up things we have in our mind around our worth related to our business. And so when you take the time to take care of your body, you're actually going to be someone who's going to be able to receive the clients and receive the experience of fulfilling your mission. Because part of this is, yes, that you're here for a purpose and you're helping people through something similar that you've already been able to get through. Like you're healing people that are still unhealed in whatever category you've brought yourself through. So yes, there's that you're going to fulfill it. But here's the thing. Energy can't be created or destroyed. So when you are helping other people, you get to experience the healed version of that subject, which is life. So whatever fantasies you have in your life about what you want to experience, they're going to start to come true. You're going to actually start to have experiences that you've always dreamed about because you're doing your part. And doing your part starts with taking care of you. Love you. Okay, only 3 out of that one. That's a little mushy. We'll see how it goes. Sweet potato fries! Especially if you get low sugar or no sugar added ketchup. This is so fabulous. We are an hour and 6 minutes in. We done. Zucchini takes a couple times like in the storage to drain it. So a lot of times like I'll start with a big container and then as the days go on, it gets into a smaller container, but I drain it because they're constantly gonna be secreting water. See how pretty that is? Hey, remember. We'll use this one for now. I have a refrigerator at the office that I work at. So a lot of times what will happen is when I'm cooking, I'll do stuff like this and then put in a smaller container to keep some at the office so I'm not bringing containers back and forth. So we'll do that. Let's double check. That one could use a little bit more time. Okay. Am I imagining this? Yeah. Okay, we're good with that. So the oven just beeped. It's an hour and 10 minutes. Oh, so good. Probably if I stopped opening it, it might cook faster, but oh well. Okay, I put that in for another 10 minutes. Now we got the beef. So we're just gonna toss it in. You don't have to clean it. You hear that? So good. Okay, this one I do the air roast at 390, and we're gonna do it for 10 minutes and then check it because I like it to be like medium well. I don't like it cooked too much. Those two are done. Do a little cleanup. This is so easy. It is easy to take care of yourself. It is not hard. Just take some practice. Let's recap this. We have sweet potato fries almost done. We've got chicken finished and we've got zucchini finished. We'll use this bowl for the bell pepper. Oh yeah. Volume, volume, volume. If you can get some of your meals to be like not that exciting, okay, like let's be real. If you can commit to getting high volume food, you'll have more wiggle room for like delectable stuff like I was talking about like with the marshmallow. The marshmallow though is like a mainstream brand with high fructose corn syrup. So I definitely don't suggest diving into mainstream products too often. You want to get more natural ingredient sources for sure. All right, so we're just cutting the bell pepper. So sometimes Costco has organic bell pepper and sometimes I get it from Sprouts because then they have selections where like they're misformed, like they don't look that good. So then they're cheaper. Do you see how fast this is? It's honestly so fast. We're an hour and 14 minutes in. Okay, so this is how I slice these. I don't know, like, whatever. I just do it fast because you just want to get them small enough so that it's easy to cook. Be careful. Keep your fingers and your nails out of the way. I had sworn off bell pepper because I was so tired of eating these when I was on a deficit and like I just mostly ate bell pepper and the zucchini. And then I found out that I basically have been eating the last 3 years like a bodybuilder. And I've become a bodybuilder. And so I was just like really excited and proud of myself because there's part of me that feels like if I had the idea to eat like a bodybuilder to become one, I wonder how much resistance I would have had and would not have done it, you know? Because for me, it was like, wow, like a lot of the food that I want to eat is actually toxic for my body. My intestines would literally swell and sound like they were blowing their nose. They were incredibly painful. And then I would get hemorrhoids and it's uncomfortable. So I was like so strict because the symptoms were so severe and almost instant. So when I was eating the high volume foods like the zucchini and the bell pepper, on my first reverse diet last year, I was so focused on dealing with my emotions because I didn't have an outlet. I didn't have a food outlet. And I've also, like, as a high performing businesswoman, you'll probably relate to this. We have a habit of overworking ourselves. So when I was bored and I had already worked out and I had already gone on a walk and all my macros were eaten, it was like, oh, I have to actually deal with myself instead of run away from my emotions with physical activity and instead of eating them. So I was able to do a lot of inner work on that first cut because, I mean, I had to. Like, and you know what? I didn't even have to, because there's a lot of people who have the same food sensitivities that I do, and they choose not to change. They know they have the symptoms, and then they'll take like medicine, or they'll just deal with the pain. And I was just like, if we have symptoms, the long-term effects of not making changes, they are so detrimental to our health in the long run. You don't want to be an old person who dies a horrible fucking death in a hospital because you're fucking bedridden, because you've trashed your goddamn organs your whole life. You don't want to do that to yourself. So that was like my motivation, to eat better. When I found out that, like, you know, Olympia bodybuilders eat like this, I was like really proud of myself. And I was like, oh, all the shit that these other women have given me about my eating, about how I'm too strict, motherfucker, I could be on the Olympia stage. Fuck you. Oh, okay. Now they're like really starting to look, I feel like, the way they're supposed to look. So let's take one off the top. Oh, fucking A, it's done. Look at that. Oh my God. It's so good. Oh my God. I'm so happy with these. Okay. My God, you guys, look at this. Oh my God, so good. Yeah, that's how I like it. You want to let these rest so that the juices stay inside the meat. How amazing is that? So now, also for cleanup, so immediately while this bad boy is still hot, be really careful. I soak it so that it's super easy to clean. We'll just leave it in there for now because we gotta get the turkey. So exciting. So are you watching? Do you see how much food we already have made? This is amazing. Oh yeah. And remember, we're not gonna clean the pan. So it's just gonna add that much more flavor. You see how excited I am? Let's just scrape them off. Oops. Don't melt the plastic. Toss them in. So good. You ready for this? I don't think they can handle this. Woo! Let's just add a little bit more. So my sweet potato fries might have a little bit of an Asian flavor to it with the liquid aminos that kind of taste like soy sauce. And that's okay. By the way, we are 1 minute and 23 minutes in. 1 hour and 23 minutes in. So good. Watch out. Oh, wait. I didn't salt it. My God. Hello. I love salt. Chunky salt for this one because then, like, when you eat it, I don't know if they're actually going to stick since I didn't put any fat on top of the potato. We'll see what happens. It's fine. Got those in. Yes, with the turkey. Oh, so good. Oh my God, just like look at like how it's like has that like edge on it. It's gonna taste so good. What I'm gonna do is just grab a clean spoon to save time and like that much. Yum. Oh, hello. Oh my God, it smells so good. Do 20 minutes. Oh my God. So it's like crispy on the edge, soft on the inside. And because we had nearly 4 pounds of turkey, and I don't know, like a quarter cup of amino acids, it's not that much of a soy sauce flavor, but the ginger and the onion is kind of like you're eating Chinese food. It's so good, right? So good. So this is the last package of bell pepper. It's so great. But if you notice, if you just carefully go around, then you won't have to deal with the seeds so much. And by the way, when I realized, like, my goal, like my dream, my whole life was to have a 6-pack. And it was because I just loved the way that looked. And to me, when I saw fit women, I felt like they had their shit together because I knew that I ate my emotions and I knew that I didn't have any like self-discipline. So when I saw women who were really fit and muscular, I envied that because to me that represented control and discipline. And a lot of people say that in a negative way, that dieting is about control. And it is 100%. But it's just like anything. Like if you're raising a little child and you're disciplining them, not beating the shit out of them or not like yelling at them all the time. But like if you're like, hey, FYI, not so great when you do that. Like, you know, discipline and like having a routine and being like, look, kid, you're getting cleaned up one way or another. Would you like to take a shower or a bath? That's discipline. So taking care of your body and eating macros requires discipline. And the bullshit that you have of your like 0 to 7 conditioning or any like negative belief systems that you've picked up in your life, all of that has to be rectified when you are enforcing discipline in your actions. And then when I, you know, when my stress like obviously skyrocketed in 2020, like FYI, like we all are in a solar plexus activation and 53% of the population has a defined solar plexus, which means that we have really strong energetic waves and we project our feelings out of us. And this is from Human Design. So when I, like the more I learned about my design and then what was actually happening in my body and my lifestyle, I was so excited that I ate so much red, orange, and yellow foods because I just felt like I was supporting those 3 chakras. Because those 3 chakras, the root chakra, the sacral, and the solar plexus, they are all the ones that get programmed for human conditioning. They're from the heart down. So when we get stuck into fear mentality or separation consciousness, where we feel separate from God itself, that's a very lonely, deep-seated sadness that can turn in, like in my case, to self-hate. Like I hated my guts. And then I treated people the way I felt about myself and treated myself really badly. So when we do this work, even with our food, with colors that match the chakras, you're going to be healing the chakras and actually fusing the column within you. It's called the Hara line. And you're going to start to connect with your source energy. We're all source energy with God, but there's like fragments. And so we're all from different star systems. We all have different, in Gene Keys or Human Design, they call them the nanoparticles. Well, actually, astrophysicists call them the nanoparticles. That there are these smaller than subatomic parts that have mass, that flow through the planets and flow through our body while we're in utero and also while we're born. So that's how we say what's in our natal chart, that I'm a Pisces, I'm a Virgo, I'm a this, I'm a that. So my point is that when you do this work with your body, remember what I said, that these chakras are the heart down. So from the heart down, if you can't tap into everything that you are with your heart, the above chakras that are kind of like the thing that you get to play with and tap into and master who you are on an energetic level, like an energetic wizard, you can't access those. But then what happens is when you do this inner work that I'm teaching you in body energetics, my body energetic system, what ends up happening is you fuse the lower ones together and you start to activate the ones that are higher, and you're actually you'll like turn on your perception and you'll find out what your abilities are in your sixth sense, in your non-physical sense. So it's very exciting. Okay, so we got our bell pepper situation ready, and remember, we're just gonna like flash cook this, and this is it. I'm not gonna cook with fat. I think I'm gonna put all of them in to see what happens. Okay, so I'll be stirring those quite often. Go with our bigger salt. The sweet potato fries are at $4.75. We're gonna clean up a little bit. We're an hour and a half in. So the beauty of like knowing what you're eating and eating this food that's really good for you is that like when you do want to go out and like eat something that's like off plan, it's not that you're splurging or you're cheating. This is like lifestyle. This is how you put a healthy lifestyle into action. Because so many people feel like it's just one or the other. So they're like, oh, well, if I'm tracking my macros and I can't track them because I go out to lunch, then like, what's the point? I'm going to start later. I'm going to start later. I'm going to start later. And later never happens. Do you see how quickly that is coming off because I put water in it right away? Because sometimes I think that we mess ourselves up because we anticipate this being more difficult than it actually is. It is not that hard to get it all done. So we're an hour and 40 minutes in. Turkey, beef, chicken, zucchini, our bell pepper, and we got sweet potato in the oven. And I'm going to use the ghee, so like the ghee spoon. So that's going to give just a little bit of flavor. Hello. And we're back. So I have spent probably 20 minutes cleaning up because my phone ran out of storage. So the sweet potato fries are done. These ones were in a little bit longer because they were bigger compared to this one. And here is all of our amazing food. So we've got the chicken, zucchini, bell pepper, skirt steak, turkey, and turkey. And I just want to tell you, like, these did not turn out perfectly. Like, they're kind of a little bit mushy. But scraping up the flavor from the turkey is so, so good. And really what matters is the flavor. And so on the next video, we are going to do a screen share of how I prioritize my macros to make sure that I have adequate protein in each meal, and then how I spread out my carbs. We don't have the same macros, so it's not going to be exactly like verbatim what you're going to do, but you're going to see like how we're going to put together a meal. And if you work from home, right, if you're doing an online business, you could either leave your food in the bulk containers and then just take food out and measure it as you go. But then you could also prep these into individual containers as if you were traveling. So like if you wanted to get, you know, a bunch of these size containers, and that way your meals would all be set. When I did my first calorie deficit last year, I wrapped them in foil and then put a paper towel around them because the vegetables would leak water. And then I would put them in a Ziploc gallon bag, and I had 7 days of 2 meals each because I was doing 2 meals and then a fruit and a protein shake as like a supplement in between each one of those. I will tell you, eating as much as possible versus having a liquid protein is going to help you be fuller, more full. And so it's important to to know that, because it'll make it easier if you eat and chew more than you drink. That's going to help you stay fuller longer. And then also the time that it takes you to eat, that's like your time. You know, like you can't just be giving and giving and giving to your business. You can't just always have the faucet on. You have to turn off the faucet and actually take in some of that source energy for yourself. So if you're eating every 2.5 hours, that means that you have to stop focusing on your business and on other people and bring it home to you, because you're the most important. And every time that you do something for other people and your clients get results and you hit a milestone in your business, when you take time to let that sink in, you're going to calibrate higher, because you're taking the time to notice what you've accomplished. And this whole point of the experience of life is to have the actual experience. So if you can take that time every 2.5 hours to just be with yourself, you don't even have to be thinking anything. You could just literally be with yourself, nourishing yourself. You're going to give the energetics time to like come into you and regenerate you. So there's so much importance in this self-care on so many levels. I'm going to wash my hands. I'm going to show you how I scraped up the sweet potato. I think I may have overcooked them when I was boiling, and I didn't put a lot of like grease on the pan. They kind of like stuck a little bit. But what do you care about? Do you care about it being a dry stick that you can pick up with your finger, or do you care about it being delectable? We want it to be yummy. All right, they're a little stickish. So I'm just gonna let them sit and cool, and the next video will be all about packaging.